A very good evening from Super League HQ. Fifey here as always, and tonight I am joined by current table topper and to most champion-elect top 6 qualifier. Good evening, Hodgie.
Good evening, Stephen. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well.
I am very well, thank you for asking. I hope you are too, sir. Just been chatting off air while flicking through the results from last time out, and Devils the only team not to score as Dragons made history with their first ever win. Something that you're glad, in a way, you're actually happy the monkey's off the back, so I stopped saying it now.
Yeah, especially because what it does is you show that, and then it leads into you showing your final win. It always follows up. So when we're digging deeper and deeper, and it's clicking, and we all know that because you were clicking so much, that's why we didn't score last week.
No, indeed.
Ian Edwards told me that.
I have to. I do just want to say, as I've just seen the comment pop up as well. Thank you for your time in creating graphics, Dimble. Unfortunately, they were made in a different style to how Steve normally does them, so they weren't I wasn't able to swap everything around to make them work. But they did look good. They weren't quite done in the same style as Steve, and I didn't quite realise they were done differently until it was too late. But thank you nonetheless, Dimble. I do appreciate the effort. For those who haven't seen the initial comments, I've had a few requests for being late on by a couple of managers. So what I've tried to do is keep it as interesting as possible, with all those vying for that sort of 5th and 6th position as late as possible in accordance to that. So Ghost Games permitting, the trigger happy chairman. So Ghost Games permitting, I have posted at the start of the chat what the order is going to be. Just before we start, Hardy, congratulations on getting the queue. Dudley and Bostock there with you already. Northern Burn all but there. And then it's still looking quite tasty for 5th and 6th. 2 games to go. Who's your money on?
Well, I think it might stay as it is. Purely, I think Leadersford and Hulls have both got tough games left, haven't they? Hulls, I had a look earlier on. Did they have Bostock and Churchtown? Am I right in saying?
So looking at the remaining fixtures, Hulls, they're away to Bostock tonight, and they finish with Churchtown. That's the big game on Sunday.
Yeah, so hopefully, whatever happens tonight, that game's still means a lot, and we'll have a good finish on Sunday there. But yeah, Leadersford, they've got Dudley tonight and us last, so that's a tough run. But 2 games with queues, and as you say, you can take the foot off gas a little bit, can't decide to qualify. So it's interesting, it's good, it's what we want. You don't want everybody already qualified coming into the last rounds, do you? So it's going to be entertaining.
And Fulchester with Sloths tonight. Big one needing to win, finishing the season with Bostock Stanley.
Yeah, I think they'll be hoping to get job done tonight. I think they beat Sloths tonight, maybe a couple of results go their way, and then they don't have to worry about Bostock last day.
Okay, well, let's get going. And this is actually the game that I wanted to start with. Haggis at home to Loco. Pretty much the only game tonight with absolutely nothing riding on it whatsoever, other than obviously what was the word I'm looking for? Pride and
bragging rights.
Bragging rights is the term I'm looking for. Thank you very much. Greavesy last time out drew with Gazelles, 1-1. They currently find themselves 10th in the table. Let's just have a quick look at how the two teams' seasons have panned out. Very, very similar, as you can see from the graphic. Haggis have largely been on top throughout the campaign, other than that sort of little mid-gap here between games, what's that, sort of 12 to 16. Greavesy's changed it up. He's gone for this, what he's called Mare 263. I'm not really sure how he's calling this a 3 though, because it's quite clearly 2 up top. But some interesting decisions made. Tonetto in centre midfield is an interesting one for me. And despite actually having a large amount of decent-looking attacking talent, Cassano, Comandini, Inzaghi, he's gone for Del Vecchio to partner Montella.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Del Vecchio. I'm not sure about him up front, to be honest. Like you said, Tonetto more central. I'm guessing that Carlos has been playing well because Tonetto's played well, and he's sort of like trying to get them both in.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not done bad there, has he? Yeah, it's just trying to shoehorn somebody in there. Yeah, Tonetto can do a job there, I suppose. It'd be interesting to see how it goes. I say nothing on the line. I've a few players sort of gone off on their holidays already. But Montella in a 2, does it work? I got him going in a 2 actually, so I should know the answer to that. It does work. You can get him going in a 2, but he's been very effective in a 1. I think if you take him out of that locomotive side, they're probably down in the bottom couple, I think.
And Greaves, he's never lost to Ian. I know you really like it when I show this kind of thing, but he'll be hoping to maintain that record. Ian himself, he's changed it up a little bit as well with this new version of this formation. Giggs has been in outstanding form since signing for Haggis, hasn't he?
Yeah, good signing. I to be honest, at the time, I thought it was a strange one, really, because he had Ashley Cole and Giggs, and I would have, for me, you could get a good player for Cole, so I would have probably shifted Cole on bringing Giggs in, but no, he's done really well. I just missing a centre forward, aren't they? And it's all right saying, oh, he had Shevchenko, but Shevchenko been shit for 3 years. It's easy for, when you're not managing team, to be like, oh, why don't you play him? It's like, yeah, I've been fucking playing him for 3 weeks, 3 months, and he's shit, you know what I mean? So
well,
I can understand where he chops and changes.
Yeah, I mean, Torres returned to the team last time out and scored, so he keeps his place. But you are right. I mean, the season started with Saha being one of the main men. He scored 4 in 13, but remember, 3 of those were a hat-trick game. Palermo was brought in on loan, hasn't started a game. Vasiliuk, approaching the peak of his powers. He's only had 1 start and 4 sub-appearances, 1 goal. Alan Smith, after not really getting involved at the start of the season, became the sort of main man. 12 starts, but only 3 goals to his name himself. So striker has been the area of concern, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't really understand why you bring a player in on loan. Go out of your way to bring a player in on loan and not play him. That seems a bit of a strange one. But there ain't a standout centre forward, is there? I think everyone's going to get a bit of a chance, and it's up to somebody to take her opportunity, and nobody has done that. So I understand where he chops and changes, just sort of hoping that somebody falls on a bit of form.
Good evening to both Ians I can see in the chat. Hello, Martin. Hello, Alf. Swanee as well, and Dimble, who I said hello to earlier, as well as anyone else who's not yet that I've seen cropped up commenting, but is watching live. Very good evening to you all. Hodgie, for the first time tonight, then a score prediction, please.
I'm going to go 2-1 home win.
2-1 home win to kick us off. Let's see if you are right. Haggis with the first attempt to the game, 5-6 minutes in. Bruno getting involved a lot. Torres as well, corner kick. Stan getting his head to it but missing. Loco under a bit of pressure here. Can they keep Haggis out? And it's 1-0. It's Jeremies. It's been disallowed. Jeremies himself was offside. We are still at 0-0 as we pass the half-hour mark. Torres offside this time. A couple of yellow cards being handed out before the half-time whistle. Still no goal to speak of yet. 5 minutes of time added on thus far. Finally, David Dwight brings the half to a close, and it is 0-0. And look at the dominance that Haggis have had there, Hodgie. I know, I think you're even one who's pulled me up on saying that chances created doesn't mean dominant, but I don't think even you can suggest Haggis haven't sort of bossed that half.
Yeah, well. My thing, what I say is the text tells the story and the stats follow it. Well, the text told the story that Haggis had a lot of the ball and the stats or that they had a lot of shots. So I think, we can go with that one. Boston. They've sort of picked up attacking a little bit recently, haven't they? They've been in some more exciting games.
Yeah.
But today, not so much. And he knows the real stats jumping out at me there. Greaves will be delighted it's 0-0 because he's not really been in it. And Ian will be maybe a little bit annoyed that it's not stuck in the back of the net there.
Well, Martin's already come in saying, going to regret those missed chances. Toe sucker to win it for Loco, I think. Ian, 1-0 Loco win incoming. Get to the fuck already. He's going. Let's have a look at Ian's stats first then, and see who is impressing. And unsurprising, the 9 out of 10 rating in the first half goes to the man who did have the goal disallowed, Jens Jeremies. He seems to be Haggis' main man a lot this season. I mentioned Ryan Giggs had been playing well. He's only rating a 6 at half time. Not seeing a lot of the ball there. Very few pass attempts, although his completion rate is high. Mendieta, a few tackle attempts, fair amount of passing for the first half. Just not quite as effective as perhaps he is in other fixtures. Anything jumping out at you there from a Haggis perspective?
Just really that we don't talk about Bruno too much, do we? But other than that, no, it's a solid performance. I think he'd be happy with that if Boston had had a few shots themselves. As daft as that sound, because he wouldn't have been as in control. But the scoreline 0-0 at half time with some decent rates talking about it, he'd probably be happy with that. Greavesy on the other hand.
Peruzzi continues to play well, showing that Loco don't need Barthez to have a reliable goalkeeper. Very surprising to see Petit, who's normally Greavesy's go-to guy, rating a 5. He's really struggling in this game. Montella's getting very little service, so that explains his low rating. The same for Del Vecchio. D'Alessandro not being the creative force required. Ian is saying roll with it. I don't think I've seen Greavesy yet in the chat. I'm not sure if he's going to be here because I know he had some issues COVID related at the last show. If you were in charge of Loco at this point, would you be changing much, Evening Scott?
Given the fact that the season's finished, I would just roll on.
Just roll on. Well, without seeing him in the chat, that is what we're going to do. Let's see if Haggis continue to dominate as we kick off the second half. An attempt and then a set piece, but still failing to score. Montella still having no service at all. And it is 1-0, and it's Duff's first of the season on 52 minutes. And will that open the floodgates for Haggis as they come forward again, looking for a second? They want a penalty. Referee says no. Torres very much involved as we approach the hour mark and now past that. Loco starting to look like they might create something, but Haggis coming forward again themselves, looking for a second. Takanadi going to battle with Petit, it looks like. Zambrotta delivering, and Scholes now. Still no more goals. Peruzzi saves again from Torres as we enter the last 10 minutes. 2 minutes to be added on, says the referee, which we go into now. One last chance, maybe? No, and there is the full-time whistle, and Haggis win 1-0. And Loco created one chance that second half. Haggis absolutely destroying them. And really, it's another one of those games where if you're the Haggis match, you're thinking, how have we not scored more than one?
Yeah, but I think it's that's what we said at the start of the game, wasn't it? They're missing the centre forward. And then that's proved it there. I think they're a decent side. I think he's definitely going in the right direction. If he could maybe go, the thing is, people don't like dropping players that they like, but if you want to bring a good centre forward in, you're gonna have to let somebody else go. So that'll be something for him to think about. But yeah, he'll be delighted with that. I'm sure Greavesy will be getting a bit of stick and probably won't hear the end of that till
I'm sure Twitter will be an entertaining place to be for the next 24, 48 hours. Let's have a look at the Haggis stats. Ryan Giggs getting man of the match. Just look at those ratings throughout. Absolutely solid. All the defensive players ratings around the 8 mark. Ryan Giggs, as I said, getting man of the match for his performance. Put in a lot of passes second half compared to first. And you mentioned Bruno at halftime. Look at his pass contribution: 31 passes attempted and 26 complete. As well as that, he's doing his bit in the air as well. 4 aerial battles. He won 2 of them. Very good performance from him.
Yeah, I've been quite impressed with him, to be fair. Recently, he seems like he's settled in. He's settled in well because he's one of those players that he's very hit and miss, isn't he?
Well, he's still
You know,
very
when you're
young,
playing
isn't
an odd
he?
set. Yeah, but sometimes he just never does it, and other times he's great from sort of like 18. But no, he's been quite impressive. Good result that for Ian.
As for Loco, I mean, despite their struggles, they still got some decent ratings. The centre back pairings getting 9-8 between them. Peruzzi maintained his as well. Montella had the only shot of the game from a Loco perspective, but failed to convert. But he had absolutely no support throughout that whole game. Petit putting in, I mean, 20 tackles and only 6-1 is not a very good sort of ratio from his perspective. Paul Scholes as well, 13 attempted, 6-1. It's just as bad a day at the office really for Loco as it could have been.
Yeah, I think he just wants this season to be over now, does Mr. Greaves. But to be fair, rating wise, he sort of stepped it up a little bit second half there, which you didn't really feel like watching it. But yeah, you could say there's a bit of a positive to take from that, but I don't think Reeves will be taking anything out of that. He'll just roll on to next week and be looking forward to next season.
Absolutely. And the game's playing very nicely at the moment because Burn Dragons is the game I've advertised as second. Last time out, Burn got the draw away at Fulchester. Still not got the cue that many expect them to get. They've all but got it now. I think it's a point tonight secures it for them. And they start tonight how they ended the game on Sunday. So Vieira swaps with Keane so that Vieira's in the holding midfield position. Totti moves back where Guerrero was. Lopez partners Robin with Sigalko up top. This is pretty much Burn's best 11 over the course of the season, all in the positions where they've been performing at their best.
Yeah, it tends to pick itself, doesn't it? You know who's going to be playing where if everybody's fit. And it's a strong side. I'm surprised because he's been a little bit shaky and he's just stuck with it. Stay with what we know, and obviously confidence in his players that they'll just turn it around. Yeah, what's that? No 1 in 5.
No 1 in 5 at the moment. Only scored 1 in 3 as well.
Yeah, play to him for sticking with it. He's obviously got confidence in the tactic, confidence in his players. So fair play to that. I imagine all the Dragons fans will have rolled up in a minibus. Ready for...
Well, Dragons are one of the few sides to have a better record against Burn than Burn have against them, and they will be high off their win last time out against Devils. They make a couple of changes themselves from that game. Gallardo goes into centre midfield because Davids is now suspended. Back takes his place in attacking midfield. And Saeed comes in for Lezans, who's away on international duty with Latvia.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit underrated. Probably a midfield, maybe a centre midfielder away from being sort of up there with themselves and Burn on paper.
Yeah.
If you offered me next season Dragons or Fulchester, I think Dragons are a far stronger side, man for man.
My personal take on it of that question is I would take Fulchester, but I believe Dragons should be a top 6 side, and to not achieve that is failure with what's available to them. And that's no disrespect to the likes of say Dudley, who have already got their queue. I think Dragon's squad on paper is stronger than Dudley's, and it just shows how well Steve's done or how much Jamie perhaps hasn't got the best out of his side.
Yeah, I mean, even the bench, Morientes, he can do a job. Oladenkov's a very good player. Carrick's not brilliant, but he's sort of in that position. They maybe need to strengthen a little bit to be sort of up there with the real big guys. But no, I must admit, when I took the Devils job, I was offered, I think it was Devils, Dragons, Gazelles, and I didn't even think about Dragons because I just thought they always seem to be near the bottom. They must be a bit shit. But looking at this side now, yeah, they're a good side. They should be doing better.
So a draw secures the queue for Burn. What are you going for as a score prediction, please?
Well, I'm going to go for a score draw, one apiece.
One apiece score draw. Let's see if you're. And Lucio has already scored for Dragons in the first 10 minutes, and it's 1-0 to the away side. Burn have equalised through Totti, but it's been disallowed. So still 1-0 to the away side. Sigalko still chasing that golden boot, of course, so he'll be desperate to get on the score sheet tonight before any of his closest rivals play. Martin's predicting a Sigalko hat-trick. We're approaching half-time, still 1-0 to Dragons, and the referee brings the half to a close, and it is 1-0 to Dragons. So a massive team talk needed by Mr. Edwards. And a decent equal first half. You know, a bit of a tactical battle with both teams having players performing well.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie will be delighted with that. Away from home, I'll say something's not right at Burn, isn't it? Ian, I don't think he'll be too concerned. He may even be a little bit sort of not happy with the way he's playing, but maybe a little bit happy with the way that the game's playing. In that he's sort of thinking, once the playoffs start, we'll come out of this in a bit of form,
yeah,
and probably go and get to the final and have a crack at winning it.
He'll want to win at least one of these last two games, though.
Yeah, I mean, who's he got last? Who's his last game against? Do we know? Off the top of your head?
Asta.
Asta. Yeah, so he'll beat them on last. Yeah. He will, won't he? Turtle will tell you himself. His tactic will be something like, "Oh, fucking, for fuck's sake, Turtle's still in charge," or something like that. So, yeah, they'll do Asta last year.
Ian's already said as is, as I click over to the stats, and the one that stands out to me, I think Vieira's perhaps being slightly harshly judged at only a 7 for his contribution to the game.
Yeah, he's seen plenty of ball, putting his foot in, a couple of key tackles, winning his headers. It just depends what he's doing with it. Is he winning tackles and then just passing it sideways, and then somebody's losing it? They're not really progressing with the ball, but yeah, he's seen a lot of the football compared to some of the other guys. Georgiatis and Robin down that left hand side a little bit quieter. You've always got that.
So I was just going to say hola to Steve Wright, who has joined us from one of the Spanish Isles. I can't remember which one he's at the moment, but he's joined us from a resort somewhere in Europe, as away from the Super League. I think that's possibly Alan is getting a VAR check for a possible red card in the Everton-Newcastle game. But let's get back to all matters Super League. Dragons ahead, but perhaps a little bit surprisingly when you see some of these stats. I mean, they're not exactly flush with 7s and 8s there, are they?
Oh, but they've took the chance, and that's what you need to do. Jamie will probably thinking, well, we're 1-0 up, we're not really playing very well, so if we can.
It's not the first time we've said that, though, this season. Dragons have this in them where they don't have to be at their dazzling best to win games.
Oh, no, I mean, they beat us 2-0 last week, and it was very, very comfortable for them. But when you looked at player stats afterwards, they were amazing. Wilfred Bowman had a really good game, but other than that, nobody was like, fucking hell, yes. So, but it's results. Results is what you need. Results give you points. Points give you prizes.
No, absolutely. Well, no word from Jamie. Ian said as is, so we'll kick off the second half. As I can confirm that it is a red card in the Everton game after a VAR check. The referee did go and look at his little computer screen. But this game is much more interesting than that is for sure. We've already reached the hour mark, still 1-0 to Dragons. The inspirational team talk hasn't taken heed yet, but Lopez coming forward now and Totti for Burn. 75 on the clock will slow it down. Free kick, which Emerton looks to deliver. And 2 games before the playoffs, and Vieira has gone off injured. It's going from bad to worse for Burn. I think Keane will drop back, Hodgie, and Youngberg will come on.
Yes, that seems to be the only really option he's got there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Especially being behind. He's not going to want to bring the Lockney on being behind. What does the guy whose name I'm not even going to try and say, what does he do?
The defender right left.
Right, yeah, he's no receiver. The BMC is the...
I mean, I'm going to prepare the sub ready for Ian to confirm that we're right. What a huge 15 minutes now for Burn, with Vieira going off injured behind. I mean, I'm not suggesting lose this and they don't qualify, but it just adds a little bit of pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does, especially if Hulls and Leathersford can pick up wins tonight. It's really interesting. And Fulchester as well. They're sort of right in the mix. Could be.
And 10 minutes go by with nothing happening at all, and now Burn come forward. One last chance, maybe 2 minutes to be added on. Here come Dragons though. Baumer coming forward, pushed by Keane. Emerton takes a free kick. Raul knocks it down, and Emerton, Gattuso back. Free kick to Burn now as they go on the counter. Totti, Sigalko, Youngberg. Galardo's warned as it's a free kick. Totti to strike it. There's the full-time whistle. Dragons have knocked off Devils and Burn in the space of a week. It's finished 1-0 to the away side. It was very much a battle, that second half. Not a lot of chances created by either side, and Dragons showing that steely quality that we've mentioned throughout the season at times.
Yeah, it's tough to make sense of that, really. The pass completion's not great. The tackle completion's not too bad, but it's not brilliant. And the headers one's pretty low. They've had less shots, although more on target. But they've got the result. Makes you wonder if Wooders maybe back involved and they've started downloading some tactics again, because it's been a real turnaround last couple of weeks.
Vieira, despite his injury, getting man of the match. Totti putting in a captain's performance as well. The thing with Burn, and I can see in the chat, Ian's put, well played Dragons, we're not good enough. The thing is, any other team getting these sorts of numbers and ratings, well, just about any other team anyway, would be quite happy. It's just by Burn's normally very high standards, this is average.
Yeah, I mean, does he maybe need a few players sort of thinking we get picked every week? No matter what we do, we always get picked. Are they sort of maybe not trying quite as hard? I don't know, because it never changes, does it? Unless it's the injury suspension, it never changes. And I know I said fair play to Ian for doing that and sticking with it while he's been on maybe a little bit of a rough run. But the flip side to that is, are maybe these players getting a little bit comfortable because you know where they're going to be?
That's
in
now
the lineup every week.
6 without a win, 1 goal in 4. Not the best form going into a potential playoff, and we still have to use the word potential playoff campaign. As for Dragons, looking at their stats now, Otis, Emerton, Baumer all rating 8s, as did Big Ugo. Raul continues to flatter to see. In fact, the whole attacking sort of triangle were the lowest rated players. Just shows what a battling performance it was by those behind.
Yeah, it's been a good defensive display.
And Gattuso putting in 14 tackle attempts, 10 completed, 2 of them key. Emerton as well, working hard out on the wing there with 10 tackle attempts. And that's not even overshadowing Ibrahim Saeed's performance as well with 8 tackle attempts. Clivert, to be fair to him, battling from the front with 7 himself.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's been a defensive, an all-round defensive performance. Clivert's doing his bit for the team, putting himself about a bit.
And there's not many teams, I noticed, there's not many teams that can leave it that Sigalko doesn't have any shots in 90 minutes.
Yeah, he's been a bit patchy, hasn't he? You think he's not. He had a bit of a poor start, and then he went through a few games, had a real run. He thought he was back, and he drops off a little bit, and he scores again. So, still though, there, he's not had a shot. So if you give him a couple of shots, probably win that game 2-1. It's fine margins in this league, and again, Mr. Edwards is not one to panic, and I don't think he'll be panicking just yet.
No, absolutely not. Next up, we are going to Spartak Sloths, who currently 13th in the table, only 3 points clear of Gazelle, so they still need a point or two between now and the end of the season. And they entertain Fulchester, and the latest manager to not exactly pay full attention to what has been going on in his pack. And I am just checking that I haven't had a message in the meantime, because he's left Zetterberg in the side on just 35% fitness.
Yeah, I mean, if that were anybody else in league, I'd say, oh yeah, it's obviously a mistake. But because it's Rob, he's probably just thinking, fuck him, just throw him to Wolves, let him have it.
Let him die.
Yeah, is he one of the? How old? He must be knocking on a bit. Is he one of these that's already sort of decided he's retiring?
Yeah, he's 34.
Yeah, I think it's just a case that we haven't got anybody else to put in, so fuck him.
Well, no, I mean, he's got Ebi-San that can do that. He's got Rakoba that could play there. He's got.
Yeah,
He's got
like I said, Steve, he's got nobody who can do a job there. So he's stuck with Zetterberg, and just going to see what happens.
Last time out, they got absolutely destroyed by Halls, you might remember, as Crespo scored 2 penalties as part of a hat trick. Nigmatulin got sent off, and then Van der Sar came on and did next to nothing. So Esteban is in goal for his first appearance of the season. He only made 1 appearance last season as well, so be interested to see how he plays. He's one of a number of changes, and Dai does come back into the side. That's one that the manager did spot and make. Kaluzhny also back in as well. And Gamara, who is now an official record breaker for Sloths with the most amount of appearances for the club, continues to build on his own record.
Yeah, so he's obviously made a couple of changes there, which you pointed out. So I think the Zetterberg thing is definitely intentional. Gamara.
Good evening, Rob, who has joined in the chat. And just as you say, it's definitely intentionally. He's put, "Oh shit, didn't notice he was dead." Where are we? Did I do the no? So this one's an interesting one. There's only been the 1 draw, and that was in the very last fixture, the reverse fixture this season. I believe that was Shevchenko's debut, potentially, where he scored 2 goals in a 3-3 draw. Other than that, a team always wins this fixture, so we can potentially expect a few goals here. Let's have a look at Fulchester, who themselves go unchanged. You might remember they did this sort of Tato-esque formation on Sunday, and it worked for that 1-1 draw at home to Bern. They're sitting 6th, only a point clear of Halls, 4 behind Bern at the moment. And we spoke about it earlier, they've got Bostock on Sunday. So really, they're looking at Sloths thinking, let's just win this, all but guarantee our queue, and then we can rest.
Yeah, I think looking at that, you've got to be thinking, well, if we don't get anything against this Sloth side in the form they're in, are we going to get anything against Bostock? So they'll be looking tonight to sort of get the points on the board and hope it's enough, regardless of what happens on Sunday night.
Excellent. No
go. Can I just can you just click on Nicky Butt for a second for me? So I've been thinking something for a while. Yeah, he doesn't do a lot, does he?
Well, he performs very well and does a lot of tackling.
He performs very well without the ball, which that's not particularly what you want, and if you're trying to be finishing out at the table, is it?
Oh,
I just think
I don't know if you've
can I just say this now, and then you can reply to that. But here it is. You've got Fulchester, right? They don't score many goals. They're forever swapping between Chris Sutton, Michael Owen when he was there, and they're always changing the centre forward. Now, to me, you look at a side like Spartak Sloths, who let in shitloads of goals. You say to them, right, can I have Claudio Pizarro for Nicky Butt? You put Pizarro in there, and he'll score your goals. With Veron in him, he'll score your goals. He scores goals in that Sloths team, and it's not the most creative. Then you go to somebody else and you say, right, Ronaldo for a DMC. People bite your hand off for Ronaldo. No matter how shit he is, everybody still thinks they can be the man to get some out of him. And I think that a Fulchester side with, I don't even know, at DMC, not even at a world beater, at DMC with Pizarro up top would be better. Because he doesn't do anything. He don't win your games. Looking here now, I've got Soroczynski, 3 goals, 3 assists. Van Bronckhorst, 5 goals, 3 assists. Like, that's from DMC. They're doing things, and that's why we're where we are. All Nicky Butt's doing is chasing after people, tackling, and fucking turning ball back over. And I think that the concentration on Nicky Butt being the star man for Fulchester is why they're currently having to go 2 games to go and win games to get in 6. Now you can tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I can't. That's a very concise, well-constructed argument. I can't say you're wrong in what you're saying. I think it's unfair to suggest that he's not doing a job because he's not contributing goal-wise. But the thing is, the way your Devils team plays and the way this Fulchester team plays is completely different. I think Nicky Butt is there to do a job. I think when you look at this Fulchester team, and not even just this 11, but if you look at the 11 out tonight, when you've got Veron, Rui Costa, Nedved, Ronaldo, and Shevchenko all playing in front of Nicky Butt, his job is not to create and to score goals. He's got, essentially 3 players. If you include Beckham in the mix, he's got 4 players there designed to create, and he's got 2, if not 3 players there designed to score goals. Now, if you consider it against your Devils team, you've got that big wall where you've got your Van Bronckhorst breaking from midfield, and you've got Soroczynski doing a very good job doing the same as well. But you've essentially got Ferguson in front of them. Generally, for the most part of the season, you've had Amar in front of him, and then you've had, not Mpenza because he's generally injured every couple of games, but a striker in front of them. So this Fulchester team plays Nicky Butt with sort of 5-6 players in front of him, whereas you play 3 players in front of your defensive midfielders.
4. We've played a diamond all season.
No, it's not been all season. Come on, you started with Amar behind Mpenza.
I've got the book here, Steve. I started Amar behind Mpenza for the first 2 games, and then we've played 2 AMCs, as you can probably see on the camera, every single game since. So we've played a diamond in 22 games.
I honestly didn't think it was that many, but I will bow to the history of the book. But either way, what I'm saying is Fulchester play a lot more attacking-based players than you do, so Nicky Butt doesn't need to be as involved. But I do agree with your point. If you're looking at it from that perspective, because Fulchester are struggling in that area, Nicky Butt isn't having the contributions of a Van Bronckhorst or a Soroczynski.
Yeah, I just think, for example, if you could sell Butt for a centre forward, Bishkan would do Butt's job.
Okay. I mean, they have got. Who else have they got in that position? I want to say they've got Prutton as well, can play there, like say Bishkan. Who else is? I mean, Zanetti to an extent as well. Obviously, Springs coming into it now. So there are other options within the Fulchester squad as well.
Yeah.
But no, that's some very, very good and very good insight from you there, Haji. Have you got a score prediction for this one, please?
Yeah, Fulchester 3-0.
Nicky Butt hat-trick.
Yeah, Nicky Butt hat-trick.
Let's kick this one off. And so I think Ian said Zetterberg was going to last 8 minutes. He lasted 4. I imagine it will be Mantoris, so I'll prepare that sub ready for I'm a bit disappointed Rob hasn't already just put it in that Mantoris was coming on whenever Zetterberg got stretchered off.
I wouldn't mind seeing Pizarro playing off Edwin van der Sar, to be honest. I imagine he'll be winning some flick-ons.
Oh, and just while we wait for the confirmation, in the 98th minute, Everton have scored against Newcastle. And absolute scenes as Frank Lampard can finally celebrate Iwobi scoring. 98th minute of 14 added on.
I hope Taylor's already on his way up.
It's 14 added on because of the protester that tried to chain himself to the goal. We've had confirmation now that Mantoris is coming on, so Zetterberg's lap of honour is over, and we can finally kick off the game properly. Fulchester coming forward, Butt and Veron combining. Sloths now having a go, and they hit the woodwork. And Sloths take the lead through Alan Shearer on 24 minutes, and now the pressure is really ramped up on the C-suite. They create a chance of their own, but fail to convert. Sloths come forward again. And Shevchenko does score. Let's remember, Sloths, is it 2 or 3 games running? Have lost 4-1. Last 2 games running. And then in between that, they had a 1-1 draw and a 4-4 draw and a 4-3 defeat. So they do tend to, they've conceded 4 in 4 of the last 5 games. Shevchenko on the stroke of halftime, making it 1-1. So plenty of entertainment left. That's Swindon time fifing. No, that's even worse, Alf. An entertaining first half. The injury we expected, and then Sloths taking the lead, putting the pressure on, and Fulchester responding exactly how they needed to.
Yeah, it's a pretty even game, apart from in the air, which Sloths are absolutely dominating that.
Rob
must be a small Fulchester team.
Rob has already said keep as is, and when you see these stats, it's unsurprising that he says that. Everyone's seeing the plenty of the ball. Like you say, the tackling isn't massive in terms of percentages, but when they're keeping the ball as well as they are, they perhaps don't need to do as much.
I'll be happy with that, I think. There's amount of goals have been letting in. 1-1, still in it.
Definitely.
Interesting second half. As
for Fulchester, Beckham and Nedved failing to put in performances worthy of their names. Other than that, it's pretty average. Veron's trying his best. Just having a look here. Nicky Butt doing lots of tackling, which, whether you want him to or not, is what he does. Sammy Hippier as well doing that. I know you've had thoughts about if defenders are tackling, it means they've already done something wrong in the past, which was one of your great commentary statements of earlier this season.
Yeah, you just want to see your headers when you finish centre halves. Although, to be honest with you, that doesn't really stand up on this game. The tackling, making mistakes, does it? Usually, your centre halves have played well. They've put shitloads of tackles in.
I haven't seen any of the C-suite management team in the chat so far tonight, so we'll kick off the second half. 10 minutes go by with nothing happening at all. It's a free kick for Sloths, and they're certainly putting the early pressure on. As we pass the hour mark already, Sloths take the lead again. Shearer's 10th for the season.
He's been decent.
Nicky Butt's been sent off. Okay. There's nobody here from the C-suite to make a decision.
You might as well just continue again because they won't win without Nicky Bucks. He's freaking brilliant.
Well, the thing is, even if I was to move Spring inside, it would then defeat the thing of his arrow. So I am tempted to just leave it as is for them. So 66 on the clock, a goal down, a man down.
They need to go for it. And let's be honest, whatever you do, they're going to fucking moan at if they don't get a result. So you're not going to get a win here.
Just over the bar, Sloths look for a goal that would just about wrap everything up for them in terms of the game and the league campaign. This is not the result the Gazelles wanted to see at all. They're now going to have to win to take it into the final game of the season, unless, of course, Fulchester can turn it around late on. 86 now on the clock, and Beckham coming forward, failing to do anything with it. Now into injury time. There's 4 minutes added on, which have pretty much all elapsed. Sloths come forward one last time. Shearer on a hat-trick. And Shearer gets his hat-trick. and it's Sloths 3, Fulchester 1, and their playoff dream is hanging in the balance.
It is. Definitely it is. They've got a massive game now. That last game of the season at
Bostock on Sunday is huge.
They won a few headers, though.
Well, small mercies and all that. Let's have a look then. Congratulations to Sloths. Let's have a look at them. Unsurprisingly, Alan Shearer, the hat-trick hero, getting man of the match. But look at record breaker Gamara as well at centre-back. What a performance from him. 11 tackles, 9-1, 3 of them key, winning all of his headers as well.
Yeah, the old guards really stood up for Rob there, and that's a really good result for any side, let alone one that's down bottom of the table and has been getting thick end of the stick quite a bit. But no, that's impressive. That well done.
Just seeing the instant reaction coming in from the Sloths camp. Hope Fulchester enjoyed the reach around you guys. Have them earlier. Makes up for the lubbocking I just dished out. Let's have a look at the Fulchester stats. Needless to say, Buffon will be getting the rough end of Macca's boot, that's for sure. Yes, Mr. Edwards, I can confirm. I believe that's you now. Got your cue, regardless of other results. Is it? Well, no, because Fulchester's result wouldn't have mattered. It's Halls and... I'm not sure.
Yeah, Fulchester already in there.
I can't. Yeah, Fulchester already in the 6, so I'm not sure it is. I can't do the maths quick enough, if I'm honest. Just a poor day at the office, really. Spring continued to do well since he came into the side, but Beckham average, Nedved average, Buffon average as well. In amongst a kind of meh performance from Fulchester.
Yeah, and you've got just shy of 30 minutes with 10 men away from home, so it's a tough ask. Veron's been a bit of a letdown. Definitely back end of the season. I don't know if he started well. 7 goal contributions. I'm just looking in my book here, and fucking Van Bronckhorst got 7 goal contributions.
I won't. Let's not make out that's meaningless. I'm a big Van Bronckhorst fan for his contributions across the whole Super League.
Yeah, but you played him as a left winger.
Well, I also won it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't reply to that yet. Hopefully.
Well, you've already stitched me up with your Nicky Butt rant, so I thought I've got to throw something in there to win one of these conversations.
Do you know what? This is. I played 5-a-side with Scott a few weeks back, and we actually had the Nicky Butt chat. And
he said earlier when you were saying that this is what he was saying a couple of weeks ago.
And you've only got to look at the league table to see that what me and Scott say usually makes a bit of sense and has a bit of weight to it.
Let's congratulate Sloths on that result, and I'm sure the dynamic duo at the C-suite will be licking their wounds and frantically trying to work out what to do in the final game of the season. Next up, we want to go to not Bostock Halls. We want to go to Gazelles, who entertain Churchtown. They now know that to avoid finishing bottom, they're going to have to win both games. Speaking of teams looking to avoid bottom, it is full-time. Everton have won 1-0, courtesy of that very late Iwobi goal. Last time out, as we saw earlier, Gazelles drew with Loco, with what they called the boring tactic. Well, now we've got Boring Gazelles version 2. Looks very similar, so I imagine there's just some player instructions in the background changing. They're missing 2 key midfielders, with Zaylas being suspended and Hersey injured. So that's his Boateng joined Smertin in defensive midfield. Pinardi, Mido and Giovanni supporting Vieri this time round.
Yeah, I mean, he said it's a boring tactic, but probably not as boring as playing 4 at the back and getting beat every week. So it's in it. It's a tactic that has worked before. I like the 4 arrows on the DMCs. I play that. It's pushing on into midfield. It's got Penardi's in good form. The area who's not very brilliant, but whenever he's there up front, is a danger. I think Martin's, once he's sort of realised that you've got to play this tactic or a 2 at the back tactic to get anywhere, he's sort of really kicked on. And the fact that they are in a position, although it's probably unlikely after that Sloths result, that they can finish above 14th is credit to the job that Martin's done since he's come in.
No, absolutely. And the good news for mine is the home team has won the last 5 of this particular fixture. Let's have a look then at Churchtown, who resort to the tactic they played when they played Devils a few weeks back. So we've got Viali and Babel continuing in centre back in an attempt to avoid both Viali and Terry being suspended at the same time. Cambiasso and Mendes de Silva are finishing the season strong. Brujink partners Agahawa behind Hussein. Hussein, who has been in incredible form and is up to 10 goals for the season himself, including, it was 2 last time out in the defeat to Bostock Stanley. He's really he's finishing the season very strong, isn't he, Hodgie?
Yeah, he is. 10 and 11 is fantastic. I mean, Churchtown have been good though, because I still think you look at that side and I think a lot of them players would be sat in other teams probably lower down the league than Churchtown's reserves. He's done a great job as Dimble. It was sort of, we were always told how good Dimble was, especially like from Steve and the guys that had played on network games with him and how capable he is. And we were sort of waiting to see it. And what he's done with this squad is absolutely fantastic. The way that they're playing as well, they're not just winning games, they're winning games and they're scoring goals and they're entertaining, they're great to watch. I don't want them to get into the playoffs because if they do, we have to play they'll beat us. But they really deserve to get.
Am I right in thinking you told me Churchtown are the only team to beat you so far this season? Oh no, they can't beat you lost 4.
Yeah, Alf beat us at Haggis when he was moonlighting, and we lost to Dragons, didn't we, last week?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
A score prediction for... Oh, no, we've got the Ghost game, which means we don't even get to finish with Devils. What a shame.
Yeah, we might as well end it. Just finish it now, then, if we're not ending with Devils. That's what we're both here for, isn't it?
That is what we're both here for.
Come here to watch Steve Wright's Dudley Hill, have we?
Dudley Hill are next up on the list. So we will go to Dudley versus Ledisford. Ledisford themselves 3 points off the top 6. They know Fulchester have lost. Dudley already got their cue. Steve living it up in Spain somewhere, taking his boys to the beach. He makes a couple of changes. Kaladze and Tudor come in and hold in midfield. And interestingly, he changes the goalkeeper for this one as well.
Yeah, Pelazzoli didn't have a great game last time out, did he? But I think I remember you saying it was sort of the first time we let him down this season. I tend to just let it roll sometimes. Dudley Hill's season, the second in the league, has been absolutely brilliant. He's thrown in a bad game.
Eric Haddo's performed well since he came into the side, but he's suspended for this one.
Eric Haddo's brilliant. He's a player I really like. I signed him at Ledisford, and I wasn't there. I think I got him sort of in the window near the end. I never really got a chance to get much out of him, but he's I like if he's brilliant at centre half, DMC, play out on the left. Yeah, he's a really good player, good squad player.
Absolutely. Completely agree. As for Ledisford, Alf changing it up a little bit again and going Nort up front. Something that has been seen in the Super League once or twice before, particularly by Devils in previous saves. They've done it.
You won with it, didn't you? Beat Dragons with nobody at front, didn't you?
I'm not sure. I can't remember beating Dragons. I know I beat Sloths doing it once on the
Ah,
opening
yeah,
day
no,
of the
sorry.
season.
Jamie was on comms and he was fucking
That's right,
fuming
because it was
about
opening
it.
day of the season, and Jamie always used to do the first one.
Yeah, that's it.
So your thoughts on this? I mean, Paredes and Ambrosini is a solid defensive field line. My personal view, I don't like Ronaldinho on the left wing. If you're going to play Nort up front, Van Nistelrooy and Constantinu are not the two to be partnering Amoroso in the position. I'm not a massive fan of this personally.
I imagine in a minute we'll get a message in the chat saying this has been done by accident, probably. Thing is, though, every time something like this happens and somebody sits there and it's like, that's stupid, it's not going to work. And it does, but yeah, for me, that's a formation that you play if you're sort of struggling for centre forwards.
Yep.
He's got three of them there. Amarusa, for me, probably better up front than he's at ANC. Constantine definitely is, and Van Nistelrooy, who he's had good form out of it, in fairness.
Yep.
It's a strange one, but it will have been tested. Alf's not just drawn this on the back of the fag packet and thought, yeah, let's throw it in. It'll have been tested, it'll been worked on, and I expect I'm going to look stupid when he beats.
It was unlikely he would have featured anyway, but Anderson was ineligible against his parent club. Have you got a score prediction for the Blue and Yellows versus Yellow and Blues?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to Dudley Hill.
2-0 to Dudley Hill. Well, nothing happened in the opening 10 minutes. Dudley coming forward seemingly at will. Amoroso and Van Nistelrooy, though, getting involved, and Ronaldinho and Etsabaria now. Plenty of yellow cards being handed out, it looked like, just then as we reach half an hour. And another one, this time to Kaladze. Luca Toni obviously knows. Oh, Etsabaria scored on 43 minutes. And it's 1-0, and it's Saviola on 45 minutes, levels things up. I was going to say Luca Toni knows that Sigalko hasn't scored tonight, so a big chance in the Golden Boot race. But it's Saviola who's made us level at half-time. And for me, it felt in the text that Dudley were the most likely to score. So perhaps the Etsabaria goal came against a run of play and Dudley going deservedly level?
Yeah, it felt that way. There's 9 free kicks. Etsabaria maybe scored a free kick, something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But it did seem sort of against the run of play. But 1-1, I think both sides will still fancy nicking this in the second half.
Let's have a look at the home side stats first then. Saviola and Toni continue to work well together. Liz Razuk is, as normal, the main man. But through the middle, it's looking a little bit sort of weak, a little bit average tonight.
Yeah, and those 3 yellow cards will be maybe a little bit of a worry for Steve.
Yeah, especially with the players.
The cards saying Rustica.
Yeah, completely agree. While we wait for Steve to decide if he wants to make any changes, let's show Alf what his side have been able to do. Etsabaria, the highest rated player after his goal. Taribo West working hard in defence as well. Just the 1 yellow card for them. I thought it was a couple more, to be fair, but clearly it was for Dudley. And looking at the reins for the attackers, Constantinu playing reasonably well in the centre of the three. But just 6 ratings for Amoroso and Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, and no shots from either of them 3.
No.
Probably not what Alf would want to see. But it's one apiece. I think if you look at them ratings, if you were to show him them ratings and then say, "But it's 1-1, you're away from home," he'd say, "Yeah, let's kick on and see if we can get a winner."
Well, Steve is going as is. Alf is making a change. Samak coming on for Amoroso. A bit of a surprise. I mentioned that, or perhaps not, I suppose, that Amoroso's the man. He's the least likely to feature of the 3, and he's the man that's been sacrificed at half time. If you've changed it to bring him in, and he's the one that you're taking off at half time.
Yeah, you get it a lot, don't you? See sides of play centre forward who's sort of never had a kick, and then he's on a 6, and they bring him off at half time. you just think, what the fucking point? But no, Amoruso has played, so I'm going to go Alf for that. I'm talking about different scenario.
Well, we've kicked off the second half, and it's Dudley looking to come forward and take the lead potentially. And they have, and it's Rustico from the set piece at the second attempt has given the home side the lead as we now approach the hour. And here they come again. Toby lets it run free, but Leddersford managed to clear. 62 now on the clock. And it's Leddersford.
It's almost as if Steve's gone and added like this gypsy curse lifted off him.
And
like last few seasons, he could be three. Now you'd be like, oh, yeah, Steve's still going to draw this 3-3. Something will go wrong. But it's just, you don't feel that watching him anymore.
No. And as you said about the gypsy curse, they went 3-1 up. And that's almost... Is that second place all but secured for them? As Van Nistelrooy does score to make it 3-2. But is that second place all but sewn up now for Dudley Hill?
I think it'll still depend. Will it be now 5 clear of Bostock? Bostock will have 2 to play tonight, another one. Or am I wrong with that? I'm sure Steele will he'll let us know.
Steele let us know, that's for sure. And Dudley Hill's superb form going into the playoffs regardless continues. A big win against Leddersford, who are now, well, they're still 3 points behind Fulchester. Hull still have to play, but I would say this defeat all but seals it now that Leddersford won't make the top 6.
Yeah, you think that. If somebody just said to me that you're going to be going into the playoffs with Swindon Devils, and the 2 teams you'd be most worried about would be Dudley Hill and Churchtown, at the start of the season, I would have been like, give us some of that. What are you smoking? But it is. That's how it is now. I don't want Dudley Hill or Churchtown in playoffs if I can help it.
Saviola picking up man of the match for his performance tonight. Solid ratings throughout. Rustico getting a 9 rating as well. Luca Toni didn't add to his goal tally tonight, but ultimately that didn't matter. Kaladzi's yellow card didn't stop him rating an 8 either. A lot of people say when referring to the Devils when they've been on comms that you're like a machine that just keeps churning out results. And you said there's a different feel about watching Stee at the minute. I kind of feel we're watching the evolution of Dudley, that they're just able now to keep churning out win after win after win.
Yeah, even when they went 1-0 down, then you weren't thinking, oh fucking hell, is this going to be it now? They're going to get beat 3-0 on a bad run. You just start to think, nah, they'll settle into the game and they'll probably get 3 points.
As for Leddersford then, as we click over to their stats, Toby getting a 5 rating, one of his worst performances of the season, if not the entire. So Paredes not having the impact he normally has either. West's rating reduced as well in that second half as the Dudley onslaught began. It was a worthwhile experiment, I think, but I doubt Alf will be doing this again.
Yeah, but on the flip side, they're away from home against the side. They're in great form and probably man for man have got a better 11. So if I was Alf, I wouldn't be too downhearted. I'd save that for next week when Devils smash him.
Well, congratulations to Steve as he builds real momentum going into the playoffs. That means next we want to go to Bostock against Halls, and a massive opportunity this for Halls, as I've picked the wrong goalkeeper. So they now know going into this that Northern Burn have lost, Fulchester have lost, Leddersford have lost. So this could be a dream night for Jens and his boys in terms of top 6.
Yeah, this is a massive one, and I've said I think they've got a real tough run last couple of games. So if they do it, it's going to be definitely well deserved because they're in a position where they need to win, and they're playing teams that are sort of right up there.
Well, it's worth saying before I and I know it's been published anyway, but before I show the team, it's worth saying that if pressure could be visually seen by any manager, it would be Jens, because he initially submitted a team and then decided, no, I don't want to do that, and then resubmitted a whole new team again. So he's doubting himself at this point.
Yeah, that sounds a bit. It sounds like he's cheating a bit there as well. So he might well be getting a letter from the committee, I think. No, is that right that Viduka's playing on 79?
Viduka was named in the Hall's team, yes.
Yeah. And has he dropped Costanzo as well? Is that right?
Costanzo was dropped a couple of games ago because he became unhappy after being disciplined for a poor performance. So he's back on the bench. He's stopped being unhappy now. I'm just checking. Yeah, it's supposed to be Vincente, not Ortega. I worried I got it the wrong way around. So yes, you made me doubt myself now, but I have checked and this is correct.
Yeah, that's it. Though. Don't be disciplining your players when you're angry after a game. It's a long ass. They're not going to get out of it. They're not going to go, oh, yes, sorry, Jens, next week it'll be fucking 10 rating for you.
Another manager now. You pointed out about Viduka. After what happened with Sloths earlier, Jens has put didn't notice Viduka, for fuck's sake. So another oversight by a manager here. What do you think, though, to this team? I mean, in terms of unavailability, it's only Steven Gerrard that's missing, so the other Gerrard plays. Apart from that, he had the full team to choose from, and this is what Jens has gone with.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Narrow. Had a little bit of success at Narrow this season. A few sides that have played it. Viduka on 79, as we pointed out, but he's in good form and they need it to win. So if I would have been Jens, I would have probably pretended I knew that and was always going to bring him off at half time. Well, yeah, it'd be interesting because they've got to win. They've got to go out and win. I don't even think a draw is going to be enough.
No, I mean, a draw is a point better off than everyone else has managed tonight that's their rivals. They've got a decent record against Bostock. They have won the last two against them as well. So it's certainly going to be an interesting game. Vincente making his debut since signing from Bostock a couple of weeks ago. Scott has had the most ravish side in terms of unavailability. As you can see, Decor suspended, Bogey suspended, Kutsov injured, Zé Roberto injured. So this is what he goes with tonight. But I actually believe this shows how strong the Bostock team is, that all of those players can be missing, and he could still put out what I think looks a very, very strong 11.
Yeah, definitely. If this was his full strength side, I'd probably just be picking out the DMC, Guigo, and saying they could maybe improve that.
Well, Welsh would obviously normally play there with Bowyer in centre midfield, wouldn't he?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that if this was his full strength side.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
The only glaring weakness. So, given that he's got 4 players missing and still he's putting out a side as strong as this, like you say, it really highlights how strong they are with the squad depth.
No, completely agree. As we saw earlier, last time out they had that massive 3-2 win over Churchtown, which secured their queue. A score prediction for this one, please, Hodgie?
Oh, I'm going to back Jens just because I hope he sort of just went to keep it interesting. So I'm going to go for 2-1 Bulls Vikings.
2-1 to Hulls Vikings. That would be a very, very interesting result, that's for sure. Hulls have started well, creating a couple of chances in the opening 20 minutes. Crespo having an attempt this time. Vogel getting involved. Now here come Bostock. I've seen Del Piero and Jacques name getting involved. Plenty of battling between the two sides, but no one managing to take the lead in the opening 40 minutes. And as I say that, Anelka scores for the first time in what feels like forever on 41 minutes to give Bostock the half-time lead. It looks like, I mean, I'm surprised there's only been 6 attempts between the two sides because there was a lot of text and a lot of the attacking player names were involved in the text that I saw. So clearly there's a lot of attempting to get forward, but perhaps the defence is on top in this one.
Yeah, possibly. Bostock winning plenty of tackles there, 70% to Hull's 43. Maybe a little bit of nerves as well. Hull's, it's a massive game, whereas Bostock they've qualified last week. Bit of pressure's off them. Just sort of go out, enjoy your game, and hopefully get the result.
Well, let's have a look at who is enjoying the game. And the man who is enjoying his first half is the man that you said would probably be the only one in the 11 to be replaced if this was his strongest 11, Guigu. Former Devil? Yes.
Yeah, for you, Devil. Not for me.
Former Devil Guigu rating 9 at half time. Aleph as well, putting in a decent half. Anelka, as I said, feels like a long time since his name's been on the score sheet. I think that puts him up to maybe 11 for the season, perhaps just out of reach at this stage for the Golden Boot, but it'll be good for Scott going into the playoffs that he's back in the goals.
Yeah, definitely. And bad news for everybody else in the playoffs. Who got the assist? John Welsh. Yeah, it's always the same guys, isn't it, that stand up for Scott.
Robbie Keane coming on at half time for Del Piero. Maybe a little bit surprised to see that change.
I'm not a fan of Del Piero myself. I would have played Keane over Del Piero. Obviously, I don't know the form that they're in personally, but yeah, I don't mind. He's more of a season one man, I think. Robbie Keane, straight out of the box, he's great. But he's done a job. He's scored a few goals for Scott, so he knows what he's doing with him.
I've noticed Viduka's condition is 77. So has he literally done nothing? Because did he not start on 75? Is he getting fitter?
Yeah. Having watched Matt Viduka a lot, it's quite possible that he's done nothing.
He just hasn't moved for 45 minutes.
Yeah. There's always a goal in him. There's always a goal in him. But yeah, Jens will like seeing that. He can obviously. He's actually going to the second half with the fitter Viduka, like he's started the game. So there must be them. Jens must be giving him them Lucozade tablets, that your dad gives you when you're 10 before you play football. Jens must be feeding him Lucozade tablets inside the pitch, getting his fitness up.
Right, so it's a double change for Jens. Brozek coming on for Viduka, a gap for Liverani, and then swap Agat and Vogel around. So interesting couple of changes that. Obviously the Viduka one's fitness based more than anything because he would have rather keep him on. Vogel's been performing well in centre midfield for the most part this season, and Agat perhaps with that arrow taking him out wide or taking him to a more natural position. A couple of decent subs there by Halls.
Yeah, I think you had a lot of lefties. A lot of lefties in that DMC. Is Vogel left or is he either foot? But the other two are lefties, so just sort of balances it up quite nicely with Agat there, pushing out onto that right wing.
Yeah, definitely. Let's kick off the second half then. Huge second half, particularly in the race for sixth. And already at the hour mark, no action of note. The first chance of the half going to Bostock. And Hulls has scored through Crespo on 67 minutes. And we have game on. 71 on the clock. We're going to slow this one down with all the different permutations of this fixture. Essentially 20 minutes to go when you include added on time. Up to 75 on the clock as Anelka comes forward and Keane. And a good save from the Halls goalkeeper. 78 now on the clock. And just over the bar from Gerard. The gap coming forward now, Crespo. But they managed to clear it, Bostock, as we move into the final 10 minutes. Guigu, Jacques, Keane. Keane smashes it low, fine save, and they get a corner. Anelka is blocked.
Feels like Bostock, doesn't it?
It does. Not what Jens will be wanting to see. Free kick now, Cafu lines it up. It's going to be 2 minutes added on. Moving into those now. And we've passed those. There's the full-time whistle. Halls do claim a point. And what a big point potentially it could be. It means that there's no change to the top six tonight, but it does keep the pressure on the other sides.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jens will have a word at full time with Scott and say, make sure you go get a result against Fulchester last game. Because I don't know how it is exactly, but there's a point enough to keep them in there in the mix.
Halls?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were the team below Fulchester, so they're very much doing it now.
Well, that's what we want. I mean, obviously, as you chairman as neutral and me already qualified as a neutral, we want it to go to the last game. We don't want everybody. We don't want 6 queues at round 25, do we?
Ian and Dimble are actually telling me, and I've not even looked at this as a consideration. Halls may have leapfrogged Fulchester on goal difference now.
All right.
So Halls may well, when we conclude tonight, be in 6th place.
Dimble will know because he does the website and updates the league table, doesn't he? So I imagine he'll know where everybody stands.
So congratulations to Halls. Let's have a look at the individual player stats. Sylvester getting man of the match for Bostock tonight. Decent performances all round, really. To be fair, a solid team performance. Live and Cafu and Anelka, Lee Young Pyo, who came in for Zé Roberto, all rating 8. It's a decent performance that by Bostock.
It is. I think that they're never really spectacular result wise, but what they are is they're very hard to beat. They don't lose many. If they're not going to win, they usually pick up a point and get a solid draw out of it there.
Yeah.
Scott will be happy with them ratings. Yeah.
One thing this result does guarantee, thinking back to what we looked at the start, Hodgie, Dudley Hill confirmed as 2nd place now because they're 4 points ahead of Bostock with 1 game to play.
Yeah, so
which means you get to play them over 2 legs.
2-legger, yeah, nice. Look forward to that.
And I just see the things come up there. Dimble confirming Dudley 2nd as well now. Let's have a look at the Halls ratings. And again, very similar actually. A solid team performance.
Yeah, he will just be a little bit, maybe a little disappointed with that first half when Viduka was on. He's been in form. I think he maybe just thought if we can nick a goal with form is in, and then we can bring him off and save him for the next game and push on from there. But look, if you've gone away from home to a side that's already qualified and you're still in the mix for the last game of the season, I think if you'd have offered that to Jens maybe 6 weeks ago when he was down bottom 2, bottom 3, would have bit your hand off. So
definitely,
fair play to Jens for obviously getting sacked on the game and flying at the table.
So that brings us to Devils versus Asta, and as we can see here, you've had to make a few changes due to unavailability. So you got Montero suspended, Soroczynski fitness concern, Aymar injured, and Penza injured. So that leaves you with your traditional formation, but a couple of changes. Ayala normally comes in for Nesta this season, but it's the other way around. He's had to come in for Montero this time. Kesman leading the line with Mpenza out for what must feel like the 10th injury this season.
Yeah, I think it's 4 or 5. It's not ideal. The 4 players that we're missing, I think, really are standouts. But we're in a fortunate position where this game doesn't really matter too much. It's nice to see Kesman up front with Henri. I don't think they've played together. Oliveira had a decent game last time out. It's nice to see him getting some games. And, Ayala, I would imagine, will have to play in the playoffs at some point because Nesta's sat 1 yellow away from suspension. I think so. Oh, no, sorry, 2. So, yeah, maybe it's just nice to get players in without the sort of pressure and that they have to perform.
Did you want to pick a captain in Montero's absence or just let the computer decide?
Yeah, Nesta, please.
Nesta. There you go. Let's have a look then at what Tato. Did I see actually? Yes, Tato. Evening, Tato. I hope you enjoyed your 106 minutes of action you got to watch tonight. A red card and a victory for the Toffees. Tato's kept the same formation because he wants to carry on bringing the entertainment. So the narrow 3 up top. There is a couple of changes. Former Devil Emerson only on the bench. Emre and Foe join Rayed in midfield. The back line remains the same. Scally, Honcho, Vrede with Day. I want to say there was another change, but no, it was just in midfield. Looking at it where the changes were. Asta started the season like a train. They fell off a cliff, and then they saved themselves being in a battle for bottom with a few games to go. So Tato just sort of enjoying, for want of a better phrase, the last few games, being able to change formation and try things like this. But they are capable of scoring goals and causing upsets, aren't they? I mean, it was 3-3 last time out against Dudley.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at the players that we got missing, and coming off that result, he's probably going to be fancying a result here.
The track record in this fixture, as with most, another team, Hodgie, that have never beaten Devils.
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on there? Fucking hell. How's there so many of these?
because you're very good at this.
And you are as well, yeah.
You're very good at this, and the previous manager managed to keep a reasonable record against teams.
Yeah. I don't like it. I'd rather you have lost to him once and then the pressure's off.
So I never ask managers to predict scores for their own games, but are you confident despite all your absentees?
3-0 Devils.
Oh, okay. That confident. 3-0 Devils. Let's kick off then. The penultimate game, because obviously we had that ghost game earlier. We've still got Churchtown Gazelles to come after this. It looks like Asta putting in a bit of pressure early doors to take the lead. But now Devils starting to come forward themselves. Kesman, Van Bronckhorst and Ferguson all getting involved. Kuhl and Henri now. Devils just really starting to apply themselves. And they take the lead through Thierry Henry on half an hour. League leaders, and as I said in the intro, but considered by many champions elect. Coming up towards half time, can Devils get a second? Kesman had a go. They asked to want a penalty. The referee says no. We're into injury time. And there is the half-time whistle by Jeff Palmer. Thierry Henry's goal on 30 minutes. The difference between the sides in what is easily, purely in terms of chances created, the most entertaining half of football we've had this evening.
Yeah, it's box office, isn't it? Should be charging these lads for watching this.
We'll have a look at the Wayside Stats first, Hodgie, just so Taser's got a chance to reflect. Surprising a little bit for me, given how many chances they've managed to create away at Devils, that their attackers are all rating so lowly. But then you have a look, and Zizi's had 2 attempts, not on target. Landon hasn't had any attempts, and Michael Owens only had 1 attempt. Also not on target. Lee Chun-So, however, showing them how it's done, getting 2 on target, and the skipper Rayed the other chance as well.
Yeah, it just looks like he maybe should have took advantage of a few of his chances, and because he hasn't, them guys are on 6s. But again, it's like I keep saying it, like nobody's not to I can think no one's really been out at half time, and this is the same again. Asta well in this game.
Absolutely. A double change for Asta. Former Devil Emerson coming on for Mark Vivian Foe, and Zizi Roberts' game is up as Rossini comes on for him. Your thoughts on Emerson? Obviously, I'd said publicly, but I also said to you that Emerson was the player. Had I not have taken on sort of the joint chairman role at the time, Emerson was the player I was going to cash in on. You've evidently done so this time around.
Yeah, I just kind of struggled to get him in. I found that Ferguson played better on his own in midfield, and he was the better of the two. Yeah. And I had Sorochinsky. Van Bronckhorst was always going to be playing central when we bringing Zari in. He just sort of became the guy who was sort of being shoehorned into the side.
Yeah.
And his performances at times were maybe affected by it. He could be great one week, and then he'd follow it up with 5. He'd sort of go 8-5, 8-5. Never really got much consistency out of him. And I think he sort of carried that on a little bit at Asta, hasn't he? But he's a good player. I just needed the chance to get on Henri with how often and Penza is injured, and then it made sort of sense for both of us, I think.
No, definitely. So I've got your stats up on the screen, Hodgie. You looking at any halftime changes?
No, we'll stick as we are, please.
Stick as you are. So no changes for Devils, who are leading. Double change for Asta to try and turn this around. Let's see which plan works. Asta coming forward, another one going wide. Rossini putting one wide this time. And now Devils on 75 minutes do look to have wrapped it up through Kesman. And now they come forward looking for a third. Hodgie did say they were going to win 3-0. Jeff Palmer calls it time at 2-0 as Devils go marching on to the playoffs themselves. 2-0 win. And, I mean, Asta had spells, I would say, Hodgie, but overall I think Devils deserved it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to me having better players to pick than Tato, I think.
Yep.
I still, if we have a redraft, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Taylor can do on a level playing field. Just because we don't really know, do we? He's had some great results, just some poor results, but ultimately he's got probably the poorest squad. I know people say, I think Gazelles are or Sloths or whatever, but for me, it is Asta. And so, yeah, I would really look forward to seeing how he goes. If not next year, it's probably going to be the year after anyway. So that will carry on sort of into a 6th season. But yeah, I really am looking forward to seeing what he can do with his own squad and not a, sort of a bunch of journeymen, if you like. It feels a bit the Asta squad.
Well,
the sort of the players that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
Even that, like when he got Emerson from us, Emerson was the one good player who we couldn't fit in. And I understand why he's gone for him, but it's not quite worked out. But he was given a shit hand, and it's hard to play well with shit hands.
Well, obviously, similar to last year, at the end of Sunday's fixtures is when an announcement will go out on what the plan is for next season. I've pretty much got in my head how everything's going to work and a plan of what will happen. But yet, at the end of the regular season is when that announcement goes out.
Yeah. I think whatever you decide to do, I'm sure the 14 managers and a couple of guys involved will be supportive and fully on board.
I'm sure they will. We've got the Asta stats on the screen now. Strong performance from the goalkeeper. As you said, Neil Scally again impressing in that holding midfield role. As you said, it's not a poor performance from Asta at all. I think it's just a case of, you're right, you have pound for pound a stronger team to choose from.
Yeah. I think if you switch sides around, you give me Asta and you give him Devils, he probably wins 2-0 as well.
Well, congratulations, Hodgie. Commiserations to Tato. At least you got to watch Everton win tonight. And that brings us to what was the ghost game. So a huge opportunity this for Churchtown. Let's just see the permutations then. So Burn lost, so they stick on 38. Fulchester are on 34. Halls will now be 6th because their goal difference is superior to Fulchester, also on 34. So we know Churchtown are finishing the night. Can they go above Burn? No, unless they win 10-0, Churchtown. Churchtown won't be moving. But 34, a win puts them on 38. A win for Churchtown gives them the Q, if my maths is right. So a big opportunity this for Dimble. We've had a look at the teams. I will just re-show the tactics before we kick off. So this was the Gazelles lineup for this fixture, with the boring Gazelles version 2 and Churchtown playing the formation they played when they face Devils in game week 21. Did you have a score prediction, sorry, Hodgie, for this last game of the night?
I don't think I did give one, did I? It's hard to look past Churchtown form. They're in 2-0.
2-0. Remember, Gazelles need to win this to stand any chance of not finishing the season bottom. So still plenty for them to play for. And it is Gazelles with the first chance of the half. Now Churchtown come forward, and it's Arnold Brujink who opens scoring on 14 minutes for the away side, and they go 2-0 up. Brujink again with his 5th of the season, and it goes from bad to worse as Boateng goes off injured. Now, I'll give sort of 30 seconds, but I do believe when it went to a ghost game, Martin said he was leaving, he was going to go to bed, so he may no longer be around to make the decision. So I'm just having a quick look in advance now. There's not a great deal of options. I suppose it would be Mourinho as the defender to come on. Is the only real option.
I'd go for Walter Guyton.
He's a forward.
He's pushing up into centre. He's pushing up into centre midfield, and he's losing 2-0. Point in bringing centre half on. I'd rather play a forward in centre midfield and a defender in centre midfield. That's where he's going to end up, because Gazelle's going to have all the ball with this boring formation, painted by bloody numbers.
Well, I'll leave that to your discretion then. Nothing from Martin in the chat, so Gaitan it is that comes on. So Churchtown 2-0 up and looking to secure that queue. And now on 35 minutes, Gazelles have had to replace Boateng in holding midfield. Churchtown looking for a third before half time. And there's Hussein who wraps it up. It's 3-0, it's half time, and Churchtown have secured their queue, Hodgie.
I think Guyton get ball away for that third goal as well. Looking at text.
Again, look how efficient Churchtown are in their attacking play.
Yeah, it's speaking as a neutral, it's very impressive. Speaking as Devils manager, it's very worrying. They look good, don't they?
They do
very good.
Look very, very good. We'll have a look just quickly at the Gazelles stats so that Martin could see what his team was doing at half time. Dimble in the chat. There's a lot. I mean, Sanyal getting a 5, Mido getting a 5. He's not quite hit the heights you would have hoped since going out on loan. He seems to do much better in a Devil shirt than he does in a Gazelle shirt.
Yeah, he started off all right, didn't he? He scored against Burns. He was Agent Mido, I think. But
that's right.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That it looks a little bit like Day. How do we say that? Day.
I always go with Day.
Day. It looks like he's a man playing with boys there, doesn't it?
Yeah, no.
I've said it all season. He's a massive standout player in that side.
I mean, Vieri.
They could probably
Vieri rating a 5. I mean they're trying Gazelles, and he is putting in a very poor effort. I think if there's not a redraft, Vieri, my impression from what mine says is Vieri will very much be in the market.
Well, I reckon you could get rid of Vieri and Dede, and you could probably bring in 4 or 5 players who could really make this 11 better. And I think that's what you've got to do. I think too many guys are like, oh, well, shit, but I ain't getting rid of him because he's my best player. It's like, but he's your only player. You might have to shift him on to bring in a couple and make yourself strong. I mean, look at Steve. Steve's got to second now. He's done 974 transfers to get there. some of them players, he's had some of these players 15 times, but he's worked it, and he's got there. So I would be looking at the Dudley model if I was Martin.
Dimble has said hold, so I presume that's him saying as is. A strong performance all round, really. And Brujik and Hussein continuing their strong end to the season. As you said, as someone who may or may not at some point have to play Churchtown, their form is scarily good, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And it's 4-0. Agahauer has made it 4 to Churchtown. Sorry, you're going to say
it'd be interesting. Yeah, to see an actual list of favourites now, who people were fancying, because There's a couple of sides in that six that are a little bit out of form.
Well, maybe keep your eye on the official CMSL Twitter account for these sorts of questions starting to appear. Wayne Oldham brings the game to a close. In truth, it was over at half-time, but Churchtown have won 4-0. They've only actually created one chance in that second half and just scored it for lols, really. Gazelles, it wasn't an awful performance, just every time Churchtown came forward, they seemed to score.
Yeah, and Vieri was awful, so their main focal point up front wasn't bringing anything to the party. I just think at the minute it's not for Gazelle. It's not what did we do wrong. It's what did Churchtown do right, and it seems to be everything at the minute, doesn't it? Centre half's brilliant. The MC's playing well. AMC centre forward scoring goals. You can't ask for any more. I'm just hoping that it's burning out. That's all I'm hoping. They're going to drop off in the next few weeks.
I know that they say, you know, when you're at work in the office or whatever, you can't necessarily pick up on tone when something is written. But if there's an outsider looking in that wants to know what the Super League means to the managers taking part, Dimble's message there, oh my, can't believe we have actually done it. Madness. He cares, and this, just getting that cue will mean the world to him with this squad.
Yeah. I mean, we all care. I think I'm probably one of the managers who probably acts the most like he didn't really give a shit, and like, you know, I'm not too bothered, and but what will be. But I fucking care. I've got every game I've ever been in written in a fucking book with a lot of pointless numbers next to it. My missus thinks I'm absolutely fucking mental. Yeah, I fucking care, all right.
So
like, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with these books? I don't know. I really don't know. But I've got to keep them all.
That brings to an end tonight's action. Let's have another flick through the classifieds there. So we got Bostock Stanley 1, Halls Vikings 1, Dudley Hill 3, Leddersford 2, Gazelles 0, Churchtown 4, Haggis Hunters 1, Locomotive Boston 0, Northern Burn 0, Dragons 1, Spartak Sloths 3, Fulchester 1, and Devils 2, Asta 0. And that means this. We now know 5 of the 6 teams qualified for the playoffs. Devils were already there. Dudley were already there. Bostock were already there. Burn are now there officially despite losing tonight. Churchtown have put themselves in there as well. We also know Dudley Hill. Sorry?
I wouldn't be ruling Haggis out.
Well, let's not get carried. Let's finish this bit before you start jumping the gun here. Hang on. So, congratulations to Dudley Hill on cementing second place. A massive achievement by Steve. Not many, if anyone, would have predicted them finishing second this year. Congratulations, Ian and Dimble, on getting your cues tonight as well. Now, one game to go, and you've already spotted it, Hodgie. It looked to most like a shootout between certain teams, but out of nowhere, Haggis have firmly put themselves in it. So what does this mean fixture-wise? We know Halls play Churchtown. Fulchester play Bostock. And Haggis are away to bottom of the league Gazelles. Pressure.
I messaged Ian. I think when there was 7 games left, we were speaking to each other, and I said, I fancy you or Dragons, because I think it was 7 games to go. They had the easier, if you can say that, run-ins. And he was like, you need to get to fucking all that. And I smashed. So I think you've got a chance. And there we are. They've just done it quietly, haven't they? I didn't even realise they could get in that position.
And now Ian's popped back in the chat now himself and put, here we go. So, Sunday, massive fixtures. Let's just run through them all. So we've got Asta Burn. We know Burn are there. Dragon Sloths means absolutely nothing to anybody now that Gazelles are definitely bottom. Fulchester host Bostock. Gazelles hosting Haggis, and then Halls hosting Churchtown. You conclude your regular campaign away at Ledisford.
Record breaking campaign that you haven't congratulated me on yet,
Sorry, no,
Stephen.
you're right. You're right. Because of all the talk of top six, I haven't. Hodgie, congratulations on a record-breaking campaign.
Thanks for that. It means a lot.
But does it? Because it should.
It does. It does. It does.
Like you said,
no, it does.
This means a lot to you. So to now have that record is massive. It's going to. I mean, you've still got one game to go. Now, with all due respect to Alf, I expect you to go into that game and win it. Okay, so that will put you on 62 points. I can't see a team managing another 60+ point season for a while.
No, probably not. But I've got to thank you as well because you built the team. I just put a little few touches on it, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? It's mad when you actually look that only us and Dudley have won more games than we haven't won in the entire league.
It's
third
incredible.
place. Yeah, it's a tight league. I think that's what's helped us. The fact that we had that little bit of a run where we were winning every week and guys were just taking points off each other. I think that's what's helped us, and it's probably that you won't get again, where the league is so even. Even, I mean, you're only 9 points from 13th to 6th. It's not in it.
It's crazy, isn't it? Now I don't have anybody officially lined up for co-coms yet on Sunday. I would like to invite the managers of Hulls, Fulchester and Haggis to all perhaps feature throughout. I think the fair way to do this, just looking, Hodge, I don't know if you agree, is we can knock off the Asta game quite quick. We can do the Dragons game quite quick. We save these middle three for the end. We get rid of your game with Ledisford. We get rid of Dudley Loco. And then we save these three for the end. We play Gazelles Haggis first as Haggis are furthest away. And then we'll know whether they're still in the mix or not. And then it's a straight shootout between the other two.
Yeah, definitely. And with all respect to Gazelles, you would fancy Haggis to get them points and then make it really interesting for the last two.
So Ian, Jens, Maka, if you're free on Sunday, I would love to have all three of you on in the studio for what is going to be as tense a final day as I can remember. Hodgie, again, congratulations on the result tonight. Congratulations on the season you've had. Good luck in the playoffs. I mean that wholeheartedly. Obviously, the Devils are a team
mate.
I care very much about. Any final words from you tonight before we conclude for the evening?
Could I just have one more favour? Could I just see my ratings so I can screenshot it so I don't have to search through? It's for the book.
What, your match ratings?
Yeah, please. Just the player ratings. I didn't screenshot it, and that's. I couldn't get the stats.
Of course you can.
This. Cheers, mate.
Do you want page 2 as well? Just because?
No, that's fine. That's fine, mate. That's everything I need. So yeah, thanks for having me, and looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, good luck in the playoffs, Hodgie, as well as to the other four that have already made it. And I mean, if those three can, then anyone who would like to do comms, maybe we do the one where you can all come on. Everyone can be on Sunday. But ultimately, I would like to extend the invitation to Ian, to Maka, and to Jens to all be on Sunday for what is going to be one hell of a final day in Super League. But until then, from me, Pax, I'm travelling to Swindon tomorrow for a family meal, but Pax will go out tomorrow night when I get in from that, so they'll be a bit later than normal, but you will still get them tomorrow. Other than that, from me, from Hodgie, until the final day on Sunday from Super League HQ, it is a very, very good night.
Good night.